Hey guys, you did a beautiful job with our patterned squares for our quilt. You did quilt code squares and you did a really wonderful job. I'm very proud of the work that I'm seeing here. Those are some of our blue squares students made. Very nice. Today you're going to start working on your story squares. And remember, the story squares are not just a pattern, but have images in them. These are some of the artists that we looked at. These are in the slideshow that says Black History Month Inspiration. And this is going to tell you all about what you need to do for this assignment. So here we see some examples of the artists that we've looked at. And you remember we had Harriet Powers, and she has some very basic people shapes and animal shapes. She uses applique, which means that for her, it meant cutting out different fabrics and sewing them onto each other. For us, it means cutting out papers and gluing them onto other papers, right? So that's applique. And she has some very simple shapes that I know you would be able to do with time. You need to take your time. And it might look very, very simple, but I think you'll find when you have to make everything the right size to fit and to make sense with each other, it's a little bit of a challenge still, even if it does look simple. So doing that in Harriet Powers style would be a challenge in itself. We have Michael A. Cummings, which we looked at, his work here and here. And, that's another really good example of something you could work on. I do like for you to look at Bisa Butler's work and see her use of different patterns because we have patterned paper. But especially I'd like for you to look at, we've got Michael C. Thorpe's work and we have Beverly Smith. Now, I appreciate Beverly Smith's work. It's not my favorite of all these artists, but I do really appreciate it. And her style really can be of use to you. Remember, she uses charcoals to create these photo-like drawings that she does, and you can use these just like I did. I'm going to show you a couple of squares that I did, a couple story squares. I did one of Ruby Bridges. I think you've probably heard of her. I believe you probably learned about her when you were little, and she was a little girl who just really had to go through a lot to be able to have a good education, an equal education, and not be discriminated against. And what I did was the applique. I've got different papers that I've glued together, and then I made these designs to symbolize the chaos and the anger that was surrounding her as she's just this little girl trying to make her way to school. And then I also did this. Now, this one might be considered more of a maybe Michael C. Thorpe or even Michael A. Cummings style because it's just kind of more basic and it's, all appliqued. This is my Jimi Hendrix one. And this would probably be a little bit more of a Beverly Smith because a lot of it is applique, but then I also did take a black charcoal pencil and put some details in him because for me that just was the best way to do it. Okay, so you're going to choose a style that you want to work in, and as we move on to, what is this slide? I don't know what slide this is. Slide 3, I guess. It'll tell you what slides you will be working with. So, and that depends on what group of colors is at your table today. Now, these are not the same as they were for the pattern squares. So look at what the color is in your container of papers today, and you are able to get up and get different colors too to add to it. It doesn't have to all be the same color. You can see I've got yellow, green, purple, and orange, but you would say probably the main color here is purple. And here too. Now you also are able to get up and get different colors for hair and for skin. I've got a whole bucket full of those earth tone type colors at the front. So let's say I have a pink. On the next video, I'm going to show you how to get started on doing maybe a more simple one. I would say more of a maybe a Michael A. Cumming or Michael C. Thorpe style. So that's on the next video.